is a bit more believable because they've had that kind of starting spark for a rivalry. I'm not too sure, like, people really want to revisit John Cena versus The Miz at WrestleMania. You know, I think that might bring back too many bad memories. It just feels like there's so much like more that John Cena could be doing at WrestleMania than fighting The Miz in a mixed tag match. I mean, mixed tag matches are usually associated with kind of mid-card level or lower, and I think, you know, even The Miz is better than that these days. The Miz is doing some of the best work of his career. He wouldn't need that match.
Yeah, I wouldn't be for that match, I've got to be honest with you, at all. I mean, especially with that sort of ending, if they're going to actually get on one knee and all the rest of it, you know, I mean, it's not exactly played out. I mean, that's the thing as well. If they do that, Matt, it's almost like saying, well, don't bother watching the product, because if you just watch the product, you won't know what the hell's going on anyway. But you're going to have to watch Total Divas, which, by the way, is what's really going on. So don't bother watching it week to week, because you won't have a bloody clue. It really would send the wrong message, I think, if they did something like that. I know most of the people think that everybody knows, but there are still many casual viewers that don't bother to tune into Total Divas. Now, I'm not saying not everybody knows about him and Nikki Bella, but the whole build up, the history to it, it's not like watching Randy Savage and Elizabeth. You know, they really played that out on screen, both on and off. But you can't be doing it with John Cena and Nikki, because they've not done any of that on their characters. It would make so much little sense. You know, next we'll be hearing that Linda and Vince want to come out and renew or something. You know, you can imagine it. You know, be Triple H and Stephanie renewing. I mean, goodness knows what next. So no, I don't really want to see that at all. Also, I really don't want to see Shane. I don't know what one I don't want to see more, but Shane and AJ, I'm sick of hearing it. And the worst thing about it, Matt, is I've heard that Shane's been booked on a few house shows going into WrestleMania, which is a worry at this stage, because again, it is a total waste. I mean, imagine if they had both of those matches, Matt. What a waste of time for John Cena and AJ to be involved in that, really. Even The Miz, it's a complete waste of time for him. Where do you stand with AJ and Shane? I know we spoke about it many a times, but it is a match that keeps coming up time to time.
Yeah, you know, I can't say I want it. Every match that, you know, Shane's been in now since he's come back, you know, he's been there, he's fought The Undertaker, he's been in the Survivor Series match, and in all of these matches, I just wished he wasn't there. You know, I'm not saying I don't like the guy, I'm not saying that he isn't good in the ring, I'm just saying that it adds nothing to the matches, and an actual proper wrestler would actually be better in those spots, because they can actually use that to progress their career. You know, only way Shane makes any sense to me is if he fights someone like Triple H and it's like totally story driven and like based around the company. That makes sense. But Shane, just the way they're using him, it just feels like he's hogging the limelight, and I'm not for that, not at all.
Yeah, I don't want to see Shane McMahon get closer to beating AJ than what Cena got to him last year. That is just ridiculous. But that's how it comes across sometimes. Like, even against The Undertaker, you feel like, hang on a minute, it took Brock ages to beat The Undertaker himself, and yet Shane is still there. Like, this should have been over in a minute. It's ridiculous to have a professional wrestler doing that well. I mean, it's like, if Shane wants a match, then, you know, give him a match. Give him a match on the pre-show against James Ellsworth or something. Let him have that one. But, you know, honestly, against AJ Styles, total waste of time of AJ, and it's not just a waste of time for AJ, but it's a waste of time for the fans that you know, really appreciate AJ Styles, especially the year he's had. He deserves a great match at WrestleMania, and quite frankly, that is not going to be, you know, it's not going to stand out from anything. You look at last year, did it really do much with The Undertaker? No, it didn't. Name power or anything else. It didn't make any odds whatsoever. So no, I don't want to see that. If anything, Matt, I'd rather them go with Triple H and Shane, just because, you know, it's fascinating that even in real life, if you look at all the pictures on Instagram and all the rest of it, there's no Shane in Triple H pictures, and there's no Triple H in Shane pictures, and you really do feel that there is some kind of tension going on between those two, and how it's all worked out since Shane went away and Triple H was kind of given the helm, and you feel like at least week to week you're going to get something, you could probably get some real emotions coming out between those two, and that would be more interesting than AJ Styles and freaking Shane McMahon, who really, there's nothing there to even go on, so I don't even know where they start with that. But yeah, that would be my go-to. And finally, with the what was the last one he put out? Matt, I mean, sorry, before we go to that, Shane versus AJ, I take it, Matt, you are totally against that. Who would you have AJ up against, though?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Who would actually go up? I mean, they're kind of exhausting their combinations now. If people like Bray Wyatt wasn't already being used, that would have been an interesting option. But the number one that I would have gone to is, if I had the choice, I would have had AJ winning the Chamber, and I would have had AJ facing Randy Orton for the title. That would have been my dream kind of scenario for them two, because I think them two have got a lot left in them to work together, and the stuff that they could put off together would be quite, pardon the pun, it would be phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. That would be something. And I've lost that question. I can't remember who he last said. So unless you can remember, Matt, I cannot remember. I lost it on the page. I don't seem to be able to get it back up. But he did say a third match, but I don't think I can find it. But what I'll do is I'll go back to it. Don't worry. We'll get it back for next week. I don't know where the heck it's gone. My page is not opening to my emails, so I'm not able to retrieve. But I know you did say about a third match going in or something along those lines. I'm sure there was a third part to it. But nonetheless, Matt, I think we're all in agreement that. I mean, is there any matches, Matt, that are on the cards that you would look forward to at the moment, the way things are going?
I'm kind of holding out hopes that the Raw Women's title will pull off a good one, but that hasn't been announced yet, so I can't set that one in stone. As of now, not really. There's not really any big matches on that card that's gonna like. If I was like back 10 years ago, it's not gonna really get £30 out of my wallet.
Yeah.
I would still watch it, but it would be a struggle. I would be parting with that money reluctantly. I'd be like, I love wrestling, but give me something in return for this. What am I getting? I would be questioning it.
Yep. Also, thank you, Stevie E, who's just come into our chat, and he's given me what the last part was, which was Seth Rollins potentially coming back a steel match to have that match. With a low-key performance in it. There has been talk. I mean, listen, his injury, the ACL. I mean, he could get back, but it's whether WWE want to risk putting him in before WrestleMania to do it. And they could do that kind of match where Triple H does do most of the work. But I don't know how it would play out. What do you think, Matt? Is it still on the cards? Do you think?
Well. It depends on how heavily they're basing it on this, because I'm sure they could put it off still, but, like you said, Triple H would have to do most of the work. And, could they find a suitable replacement for Triple H in that time? Because I'm pretty much assuming that they need Triple H in the WrestleMania. I think he could sit this one out comfortably, but for some reason they do hold a lot of stock in Triple H still actually having that ability to draw people there to see this event.
He's going to be on it.
I think they have enough younger talent, but it is another big name. You can't deny that. Triple H's name, he does hold a lot of power in wrestling, so I just can't see there being any other alternative. I think it has to be Seth. Like you said before on a previous podcast, though, Sami Zayn is a good option, but I don't think they have the time to build that up.
No. Yeah, I can't see him sitting out of WrestleMania, quite frankly. So I do think he's going to be on it. What he does, I don't know, but I just couldn't imagine him not being involved somewhere. And I really do think it'll be a match. So, like I said, if they really want Shane in action, given what the whole deal is with Triple H and Seth is currently, then that would probably, for me at least, be much better to watch week to week as a feud, as opposed to AJ Styles and Shane and getting to that kind of a match, which I just do not want to see. Let's that would be absolutely pointless for me. But nonetheless, we are at the end of our show. Thank you everyone for listening and participating in questions and all the rest of it. Of course, we are really on our way to WrestleMania. We have one more stop before WrestleMania as far as pay-per-view goes, which is now Fastlane. And of course, Goldberg will be challenging Kevin Owens. And if you want to, the way Bray won, I think that everybody is the same sort of motion going on here, Matt, where it's a foregone conclusion that Goldberg's winning. Now, whether that actually happens is another thing. But if we're led to believe how everything worked out tonight, then you'd say Goldberg definitely will be winning, which means we have two champions going into WrestleMania who have just barely scraped through and got it right the last second. And I don't really like that with my WrestleMania kind. At least one of them, I think, should have held the title a bit longer. But that's what we get. It just seems like they've gone on match power rather than anything else. But it'll be a shame if Kevin Owens, done all this. I feel like Kevin Owens will almost be, it'll almost be all lost. And we won't really remember his run that well, shall we say, if it all ends there. But we've got that coming in the... How long is that away? Do you know, Matt? How Fastlane? Is there a big gap here, or are we a couple of weeks away from that? I have no idea at all on the date on this. Haven't done too much research.
It's usually 2 weeks between each pay-per-view, so yeah. I would have to go on the assumption that it's 2 weeks from yesterday.
Sure, and then it is all... hands on deck then, building towards WrestleMania. I can only imagine, Matt, that Finn Balor will be involved perhaps after Fastlane, but I would expect him to be involved at WrestleMania, no doubt about that, but I think they're going to give it that extra little bit of oomph that they might need at that time to get everybody talking again. To have Finn Balor coming in there might make more sense, considering Samoa Joe is there as well. It all seems like it's all happening on Raw, which is a bit of a problem, but nonetheless, we kind of knew it was always going to be that way, I'm guessing, Matt, really, in those terms. Matt, thank you as always for coming on the show, doing this review tonight.
No, yeah, of course, no, it's been great.
Yep, and like I said, thank you to everybody that listened and participated. We'll be back next week, folks, with a regular show. Until then, have a great week.